Hi and welcome to your past life relationship reading. This is a pick a card reading, so we're going to look at these bundles together in just a moment. What this bundle is going to try and talk to you about is the nature of this past life relationship. Was it a soulmate connection? Did it seem more karmic overall? And for some reason, there will be an element of this reading that hopefully will resonate with something that you hold true today in a current relationship, past relationship that you can think of and remember. And there hopefully will be some messages that resonate. So without further ado, why don't we look at these cards together? You can pick the bundle you feel most intuitively drawn to. The timestamps of each pile will be listed below. Pile number 1, we have a free-form Angelite stone here. Pile number 2, the stone is a palm stone and it's Garnielite. It's pretty, it has a little black piece here on it, nice blue shimmer. Garnielite is pile number 2. And pile number 3, a dragon head. How cool is that? Dragon head of moss agate. Moss agate with some nice little shiny bits in there. Okay, so let's together take a deep breath. And pick the card that you feel most intuitively drawn to. Pile number 1 is this gorgeous blue stone Angelite. Okay, so let's see what we have going on for pile number 1. Right off the bat, let me just say that this feels like a past life karmic relationship. And while this karmic relationship could be existing today in your current lifetime, it doesn't have to exist today in a romantic relationship. However, this karmic relationship from the past did play out in a romantic way. You were in a romantic relationship with this person. Does it look like the karma has fully been fulfilled? Well, let's have a listen. Let's tune into these cards and see what's coming through. So this person that you found yourself with in a past life, and this was only one of your past life relationships, of course, but for some reason, this has elements of something you need to hear about today within a relationship or a karmic relationship that you have. So they had an occupation that was centered around something religious. And you know what? They could have been any of these kind of people, you know, a monk, a priest, a priestess, a shaman, a religious person, a spiritual person. This doesn't have to be religious necessarily, but this person got quite easily corrupted by their profession. So I feel like this caused your relationship a lot of strain, and this is where the problem started. They may have taken up their career initially with all of the best intentions, but something corrupted them within this career. I have Justice card in reverse to clear up the religious element of their life, their livelihood. It's all important because it brought you with them. You got very swept up in this person's career at the same time. And maybe you realized right away that there was a susceptibility to this person, that they could easily be corrupted and act unjustly and treat people unfairly, and all to benefit themselves. So you might feel like, oh, that sounds familiar to me. I have a relationship with this person who I feel like puts, you know, their beliefs before anything else and would actually become fanatical perhaps with their beliefs, or they would be so strong-minded that they don't care about how they treat other people. Or this might be just some of that karma playing out in your life with this person again, and you say, I remember these traits from, and something is recalling you. But this person, they treated their subjects quite unfairly, and people looked to this person in your past with, like, they held them in really high esteem, and they had put their trust in this person. You had put your trust in this person to do the right thing, to treat people fairly. And it seems like whatever happened was, you nearly felt like this person should have just left me alone. I was better off before I met this person. The setting that you found yourself in with this person was some indigenous or tribal setting. Now, these settings exist today on the same parallel timeline as our kind of cosmopolitan and technologically advanced society. There are still tribal and indigenous societies that exist right now. So this doesn't even have to be that long ago. And the essence I get from this was really the indigenous tribal card was cleared with the Hermit in the tarot. You were very happy and at peace and very tranquil in the surroundings you were in before. When you met this person, you were happy with what you had. You were at peace with yourself. And then they came in and the karma began to unfold, basically. So you might find that this sounds like in any way similar, like to a situation you found yourself in where you were really at peace before you met this type of a person. They might have come into your life again as a colleague, a lover again, a friend, a sibling, anybody like that. And well, a sibling you would have known from the beginning, but I feel like this is somebody in your life that had disturbed your peace. You might find yourself to be a bit of an introvert, and you were an introvert then for sure. You were very introverted at this time and would just like to have a quiet, peaceful life, nothing too extravagant, but the person you found yourself dealing with wanted a lot more. They were more ambitious than you, and their ambition kind of led to a lot of problems for you because you were uprooted because of this person. I found that you came from a more tribal, indigenous setting to something that was a lot more colonial, like a city. So you felt very displaced in this relationship, and you gave a lot of your security away to that person because they were your sense of security, and you knew nobody else in the new world you found yourself in, a whole new world. So think about this. Let's say probably you may not be an indigenous tribal setting right now if you're watching YouTube, but you never know. But in some way, this was just a setting that you felt indigenous to you. It was your ancestry, your roots, and something took you from your roots. So you might have been displaced again in this body because of a relationship. You might have followed someone to a city and left home to follow or pursue a relationship. And they were, you know, not saying that they weren't saying, come with me, but you pursued them, you dropped your plans for them, and they swept you along in some sort of an adventure, to say the least. But it was when you got to this city element in your relationship, you really were taken from your roots or your home. You could have been the victim of some sort of a colonialism, basically a victim of colonialism, where you were misplaced and you were left then in a very strange environment to you. So this doesn't necessarily have to be indigenous to city, but this relationship brought about a big change in your environment, and it took a lot for you to get used to it. If you ever really got used to it, it seemed then the Five of Wands cleared my city card up. This is a card of conflict, strife, obstacles, and fighting and arguing. You could never fully settle here. You felt like there were always problems with you. So with your relationship, you might feel like this rings true, like when we moved in together, or when we moved to this place, and when we followed this place, this dream for his job, her job, my job, their job, we started fighting. We started having issues perhaps. Okay, so the theme that really played out in this relationship the most, and what the karmic lesson of this relationship was, greed versus generosity. You might find yourself with somebody, I have the Knight of Coins clearing this up, that's a bit of a penny pincher. They might have been a little stingy in a past life too. They look like they were actually downright corrupt in a past life. Like, this talks to me very much of the energy of the poor box going around the wealthy ass Catholic Church, right? It's like, no, the congregation probably need this money, and you know, not the church necessarily. So it was like a misuse of power in the relationship that was all kind of stemming around money, I think. So money seemed to have been a big problem in your last relationship. Greed, generosity. You always felt like indebted to this person. They seem to have been more powerful than you in that lifetime, and that could be some karma you're overcoming in this lifetime. Like, where do you stand on like greed and generosity? You might have been dealing with a Virgo in a past lifetime, or in this lifetime are attracted to a lot of Virgo energy, or have that within yourself. That's a sign that's speaking to me very strongly in this reading, the sign of Virgo. Okay, well, I mean, you did your best with what you had, but it was around this time that reached a turning point in your life, basically, with this person. You had seen something that just crossed the limit for them. And I think you started about trying to set out on your own at that point, and trying to see what little resources you had, how you could build them up, who you could rely on for help. You started to look elsewhere because this person wasn't supporting you financially, emotionally, or anything. They were all out for themselves, it seems. Then I'll clear up some more cards and get a little deeper on these kind of messages. But how this relationship seemed to end was through a catastrophe ending of a relationship. It blew up. It was a disaster how this ended. So you might feel a karmic relationship in this lifetime has ended in a catastrophic way. You wish that there was some way to salvage that, or it really threw you for a loop. It threw you into a spiral of maybe even anxiety, how catastrophically and disaster that felt for you in your life. So some of these karmic relationships might still be playing out in your life. This does look like more of a karmic reading, but we will pull some more cards and see how that goes. Remember, this person might not be in your life again as a lover. They could be coming into your life as a friend this time, but it is somebody that you did not complete your past life karma with, and it ended so abruptly, this relationship. It's ended so quickly in the Knight of Swords. You didn't have time to even think about it. This ended and it threw you upside down again. You probably were displaced, and I feel like some of you in this lifetime have even been made homeless because of a relationship ending, or having to go sleep on a friend's couch or back to your parents or something like that. You've been displaced. You might have moved cities with this person, and yeah, some of these themes are coming to me now for like more of a current trajectory. Why don't we look at these cards together now and just pull a couple more to clear them up? Okay, let's just freestyle some questions that are coming to me as I see these cards. So in what way did this person treat people unfairly? And in what way do you see this theme of people treating people unfairly crop up in your current relationships? So we'll pull 2 cards for that. Okay, so they may have trapped people, they may have mentally abused people in their past life, they may have used their religious prowess against people, they may have left people with a lot of woundings around their sexuality, their physical body, their own human instincts because of their religious sway, because people valued what they said, and they really left people in a terrible mental bind, and they trapped people in psychological prisons, really. Wow, this person was this person was a piece of work. Okay, I'm going to keep going there, but let me just see one more card though. How do you see this perhaps play out in a current timeline that you're on in a relationship? Remember, not necessarily today with a lover, but in a current relationship. Oh, for some it's very truly with a lover, indeed, that you do see this play out with them. A person you've had a lifetime with already. This relationship might have ended catastrophically for you, and you saw a very nasty side to this person in your life. For some, for sure, it was a person very close to you. If it wasn't a lover, you might have been shocked enough to see this behavior from a dear friend or even a close family member, somebody that you really, really loved. You have seen a terrible side to them. Okay, so let's have a look. Before this person came into your life, you were very satisfied, and you were quiet, and you kept yourself to yourself in this lifetime. You were happy with where you were though, in your smaller community. It was a helpful community. It was very in touch with each other. What I'm trying to say is great neighbors. You had great people around you at this time, and you were very, very satisfied with what you had. The 3 of Swords in reverse. It does seem to be when you met a certain type of person that you had some karma to finish with this person. What were they trying to teach you? We'll try and glean this. But you met this person and they derailed your life essentially. They caused you a lot of pain, like the 3 of Swords, a lot of heartache. They could have stolen money from you. They betrayed your trust. They betrayed your confidence. And I do feel this word coming to my mind, like the Hermit is saying, I wish I never met this person. I wish I never gave this person the time of day. Let me just have a look now. What did you learn from that heartbreak in a past life? And is there anything that could be learned from that heartbreak, or heartbreak in general today? But what did you learn from that past life heartbreak? The Page of Cups. You learned something about naivety, I think, and where the theme of being, dare I say, gullible with the Page of Cups in reverse falls into your life, believing people just because you have a history with them, you've known them since you were younger even, and history doesn't equate to that person's life trajectory, not taking a turn for something that seemed more corrupt or that really oppressed other people. So you were swept up, I think, by this person. Maybe you were quite young when you got with this person. Maybe you fell pregnant with this person, and you had felt like your options were limited at that time, and you went with this person and they displaced you. They took you from a comfortable setting to somewhere that was not comfortable for you. I don't believe that you were comfortable in this city. I think it was the beginning of a lot of problems for you. So let's look at those types of problems that you had in this relationship. Maybe they ring through to you today also. Five of Wands. What were these troubles like? This is the Seven of Wands in reverse. Ooh, Seven of Wands in reverse. You were always super uneasy with this person. They were coming, were they going, where were they ever going to be? Like, you actually physically couldn't see them at times. They were hidden from you, whether they were off doing their religious fanatical bits, or whether they were just like fucking over people or plotting their next move. It does seem like this person kept a lot from you about where they were, and you always felt this sense of uneasiness around them. You always felt this sense of, I believe Seven of Wands in reverse is exactly like walking on eggshells. Okay, so that was just obviously difficult for you. So then you got the sense of turning things around. I get this Virgo energy of a careful plan went into place, and you figured out a way to get enough of the coin you needed from their probably large supply. They might have been giving you pittance, or they're, if you are in a situation with this child support, they were never supportive enough of the child, or something like that. So then you started to make a plan to get away from this person. And what happened? What did this plan work out like for you? It looks like it didn't go the way you planned with this catastrophe. Something that happened here was you might have even tried to poison this person. We're talking like this is in another lifetime, so don't worry. I'm not suggesting that that is a good idea, obviously, or that you would do such a thing. But you might have tried to poison them to get away with them, slip a little something into their afternoon scotch, into their afternoon chai, and you just said to them like, this will get this person to sleep and I'll be able to steal some of the money that I need to move on. Ooh, damn, what happened then? Other than that, I kind of feel like you weren't in an emotionally clear place. You were clouded by a lot of things at this time. It was very hard for you to get away because you were in a very lonely place, and you could have been in a dark place and not been able to see much of an escape from this person, especially since they held all the resources financially at the time. So let's have a look then at this. I want to just have a look at the Seven of Cups and go a little deeper with kind of the frame of mind, like this person spent all their money on luxury things for themselves, and like they were very fond in indulging in like earthly pleasures for sure. So let's have a look at this greed and generosity card again. I'm seeing them for sure as the greedy guts. The Six of Swords in reverse. Yes, this was something you tried to get away on your journey, on your voyage to escape, but it reversed. Something happened that derailed the plans and caused a big setback for you. You actually were trying to escape. So that's the theme of this reading. Trying to escape, but you couldn't. Wow, the catastrophe. What was the nature of this catastrophe? the Six of Pentacles. Again, look at these people being handed out a small amount by somebody that looks more important than them. So this person had this persona of like, you know, them being like, they had a really respected persona for a while. They might have actually had to leave your setting, your home setting, because people were onto them and they saw the true nature of them. So they went to a bigger place with more people, less rumors, and their trajectory just unfolded the way it would have anyway. And they were not wanting to change their ways or start afresh. They were just hoping to fool more people when they got to a new place. And the money, you didn't have the resources to get away from this person. It all came down to that. So what can we take from that? If you feel like, you know, saving for a rainy day in this lifetime is always important. Also, if you feel like any of these themes resonate, making a better plan to get away from people that do bring out these themes in your life, perhaps again, walking on eggshells, feeling very uneasy, maybe like a getaway plan from this relationship. Now, that doesn't have to sound as dramatic as it would have been back in this lifetime, because as we evolve, our karma definitely, well, if we're evolving, it shouldn't be as tough or confronting as the catastrophe. But you might have felt in this lifetime and past relationships you've had that you've been pulled from one place to another and you didn't really ever want to go. You never felt safe or at home there again. Some of you might be taking this as a message now that you're on the return home to your roots again after feeling displaced in another place and getting caught up in some karmic relationships that have made you feel uneasy, or that there's a big an imbalance between like this greed and generosity theme and like the penny pinching and money being an issue and being held over you. There's some of the themes that I'm seeing. Anyways, I have pre-selected an oracle card for you before I did this reading, and I'm taking this as a message more so for you today. Maybe something can be taken from this oracle that is relevant perhaps. This is called the Gates of Heaven, and what it says is, all beings have an ultimate spiritual destiny of happiness and freedom. Beloved Kuan Yin shines tireless compassion upon all life to this end. Yet sometimes attachments, lower vibrational beings, entities, and elementals become frightened of divine love and believe they will do better to hide in human energy fields instead. This blocks progress towards liberation, where human beings and lower vibrational beings can pass through the gates of heaven into peace, bliss, and homecoming to the spiritual source of all light. So this says that sometimes we need help to help beings find their way to the light. They can get attached to earthly energies, people, places, or things. Like trying to enter a forbidden city, they attempt to reside where they should not, within the light of the human energy field, rather than progressing spiritually on their journey through the gates of heaven into a higher consciousness of bliss. You may consciously sense attachments or a spiritual presence that is not in the highest of vibration and needs to now be released from your energy field. Or you may just feel angry, tired, depleted, or not yourself sometimes. This may be because of old energies that you need to release that do not belong to you, or even from energetic influences that are not a natural part of your energy field and can be released for the greater good of all involved. The healing process below will help you even if you're unaware of the intricacies behind why you may feel the way you do. So it's inviting you to do a clearing. It's confirmation that if you have recently done a clearing, that it is working for you. Or if you have recently lost a beloved, this is confirmation that they are passing through and they are at peace. But keep them in your loving prayers while they're on their way. Okay, wow. That's just a card for me, basically, of calling back all the energy to yourself at this time. I hope you enjoyed your reading, bunch number 1, Blue Angelite. See you soon. So pile number 2 is the Garnielite pile. It matches my top perfectly. Delighted. So this is pile number 2. And what I can say from this pile initially, this feels like a soulmate relationship to me. I was getting a bit emotional with this reading. Beautiful relationship reading, of course, ends in some sort of a tragedy, but it is a beautiful soulmate bond that this represents to me so far. So the person that you were in a relationship in this past life was a member of active service at one period of your relationship. Military was the profession coming through here in this reading. reading. And I believe that this person set out to war. They were in the military. They went and fought for something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be strictly working in the military as a soldier or a strategizer, or a lieutenant or anything like that. It could have been somebody who was working like as, you know, in the medical field there as well, like a doctor or a nurse. But they went to war essentially, or they went at least to fight for something that they believed in. And why they did this, the Sun card came to clarify it. Freedom for you, for your family that you created, for the generations of yours and theirs to come. So they did this with pure intentions. They did this for your relationship. So you might have found these themes coming up in your life again. It seems to be a soulmate to me that you met at this time. And you were fortunate enough to share a big part of your life with this soulmate. And you might have been, again, in this day, in this body that you find yourself in, aligned with the soulmate again. They don't have to be here beside you today as your lover. They can be here today as your father, your sister, your teacher, your friend. But this is the same soul in another body, and you've aligned with yourselves again today. But whatever happened in this relationship, there was a lot of activity around their career and the choices they made and the sacrifices they made. But you support your person's sacrifices. You may support this person's sacrifice, this soulmate of yours today in their physical body. You might find yourself really supporting somebody's efforts, even if it's something that's as self-sacrificing oftentimes, or sacrificing for their country, for freedom, whatever it is. You might find this soulmate of yours is a kind of person that brings out these qualities to the forefront that you can visualize in another person. So where you met this person, you were located in Central Asia, Tibet, I'm thinking around China, and whatever, this is my limited view, very limited view that I have on like a war situation in China. I'm thinking of Mulan, okay, like the Disney colored glasses on me reek at the moment, but it's like that's kind of there's such a beauty to that story. I felt like the pride and family pride and pride for your relationships and like selflessness involved in that movie, and really those themes are coming up for me again. There was a lot of selflessness here. This soulmate of yours was a totally selfless person, and both together in love, the Two of Cups, you were so selfless in love, and you supported everything each other did, even if it was going to bring around consequences that you feared, like the fear of what can happen in war. But where you lived was, I think, a small town, small community. I think you met them in the town. You probably knew each other for a long time. You experienced a lot of sadness in this town and this place too. This is a very emotional reading. It seemed like your life together was full of emotion. There was death, there was loss. Together you went through these harder topics in life, as you were blessed to do that with the soulmate. It's such a blessing in a lifetime to be able to go through the motions of love and then the motions of death and sadness, and together this relationship to me has, for better or for worse, just lined all over it. So I really feel like there was such a deep, transformative, emotional connection, but sadly, something to do, maybe sadly or not, maybe it was a really positive thing that this person went to war. I don't see this as where they met their ending or anything. So they came home from war. Your relationship was transformed through the stories that they told you about how they snapped under pressure and did things that they could never imagine themselves doing, but you were so compassionate of them, and the love was so deep you could understand, and it was a very transformative time. So this talks to me about a past life soulmate connection. I believe that you were able to emotionally transform, really do a lot of shadow work with this person, like talk to each other about your deepest fears, deepest desires, your true dreams, and what you're really so afraid of. And you were able to face like the most beautiful and the most harsh aspects of life, like love versus death, but versus all the good times too. You had everything you wanted with this person. You had abundance, but when you had abundance, you guys were happy. When you did not have abundance, penury, I've never heard of that word before, but the opposite of abundance, like you were hungry, like you didn't have enough to pay the bills, like you were worried about things for a while, like Are we going to have to skip meals? Are we going to be able to afford, you know, our mortgage? Things like that. They were still there, but it didn't matter. You had each other. And the Nine of Cups came through with that card. Pure emotional abundance. It didn't, you would live on the side of the street with this person, basically. And maybe you did, and maybe you had experienced the best of all of things life had to offer. And even when things were bad, you had each other, and that seemed to have been enough. Now, this beautiful love story took a sort of shocking end for me. I got the sense of fire, and even two people here stuck in a fire. How did this meet its ending? And then the Eight of Swords, this kind of a trap. I'm thinking, oh my God, did these people get stuck in a physical fire, and that's how this relationship ended? Or did they get, like, did their relationship end in like fiery, passionate blaze, like together? Whatever it was, though, you left this relationship together. So it feels like it was transformative and it was reborn. So either you made it to old age together, maybe there was a sad event or tragic event to your death, but together. So you left this lifetime together, whether that be in old age in a peaceful way, or maybe you met a more fiery, violent end. The point is, together your souls went out burning together, and probably came into this lifetime burning together. Whether or not you aligned yourself with a person like this with your soulmate again as a love person, but you've aligned yourself again with this soulmate, better believe it. And could be a person you would die for. This could be a person that you just feel alive around, like that fires you up. But I do get this feeling of a more tragic ending to this beautiful love story. I think we should look at a few more cards, clarify them, and see what else is coming through. This is a beautiful love story. It looked like it got to fulfill most of its purpose in this relationship. That's why I don't necessarily think you're in a relationship with this person again. However, you could be. However, there might have still been things. You could have gone for that 10th cup, but you had everything. You were happy with this person before a maybe more shocking event. And I don't mean to laugh. I'm doing that because I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is so nice. This is so beautiful. And then it was like fire and trapped. I'm like, oh boy. Okay, but it looks like you went out and into the world together again. So just transformed with each other. Beautiful. Like this cocoon, a transformation. This doesn't really know how things are going to turn out, and that's why it has swords of fear and preventing it from opening its wings, because it's going through a transition, just like from the womb, popping right out, a transition. And I'm sure that's really scary for a baby. Okay, I digress. Let's look at these cards together. Let's clear up the Sun card and the military card here. And I'm just going to freestyle some questions that are coming to me. So it looked like your person pursued a career in the military for the betterment of humanity, what they believed to be the best thing to do for their country, for their home, for you and your family if you had one, for your freedom. The Son of Swords. And yes, I believe perhaps there is a protectiveness of this kind of nest energy, protectiveness of like a mother guarding their young, their offspring. But basically there is an energy here of the Son of Swords coming through. This just shows me flying into battle. So, or pardon me, your person more so flying into battle. So they did have to take up a life of combat. And you might see this coming through with this person today, like somebody who's just taken up, they might have even taken up like a pen and put their like fighting spirit towards journalism or activism or something like that, where they're kind of basically trying to reveal light, to let some light into the world, to maybe they're a light worker. You find yourself drawn to a soulmate light worker in this world that's just trying to shed a light of truth here. The Son of Swords is very activism energy here. So this person, of course, you know, you can look at war in different periods of history. I'm not going to get into that as like was there some activism in some of the wars, and there was movements that were created from them and different protests, all of these things. So it's like the energy of fighting for what you believe in. So whatever this person's beliefs were, they were doing it for what they believed was the highest and best to serve you, basically. So they had all good intentions, and they picked up a sword and off they went into battle. But that was near the beginning of your relationship. Your relationship has transformed since that. I see them making their way back to you. And this is a card that's associated with Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, the water signs. You might have been with a water sign in that. The Emperor is coming through here. Perhaps this person did very much advance to sort of a very high level in the military as well. So they might have come back with a new title at that stage. So let's see, maybe at the time that they were away, you weren't experiencing the full abundance that you had been when they were at home with you. But it looks like you had the love there. That was all that mattered to you, was the love. Okay, so you were in some place like China, Central Asia, Tibet, and this is where you met your soulmate. What do we need to know about this soulmate connection? The Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So there were doubts for sure at a time about them pursuing this career. You might have had doubts with this person in your life today about the career they're taking, about how it will pay off for them. Will this person in your life today be able to support themselves by what they're doing, support us as a couple, support the partnership that you find yourself in? So you may have had doubts about that, especially since abundance and this word penury to seem to be coming up as like basically the soul growth lesson of that soulmate connection. You might have had a lot of worries about, will they be able to provide? Will they be able to kind of bring home the bacon, essentially? But I see that there were some doubts there. You might just have doubts around someone's line of work that you find yourself in with currently. Now, what does the Central Asia Tibet location, does that have anything to do with you today? The Son of Wands. This might be a location that you've been drawn towards visiting, Central Asia, Tibet, China. You might have had a lot of desire to go there, but at this moment in time, it doesn't seem fully possible for you. There is a kind of like obstacle here when this card reverses. Maybe you're just waiting on something to change there before you can take action. For some of you, I feel like a real sense of excitement around this region of the world. Like you have a real interest there, like you have a kind of a passion around this area of the world, or something to do with this culture. You have a real passion for this, but you just don't see it being feasible at this time, or you just don't see how you would ever act on this. Maybe this is something you and your soulmate have talked about this place before. The High Priestess and the Nine of Pentacles. Maybe your soulmate and you have talked about, if we had the money to do this, we would go here again. And maybe that's the same soulmate that you met before and you're drawn to go back here for whatever reason. So what kind of experiences did you have as a couple when they got back from, I believe when they got back from war, you did face some other challenges with this person, and it wasn't about them going away. You experienced loss, and some of you experienced like the town itself almost seemed cursed to you at that time, and there was always something to be really worried about, and there was always somebody to be worried about too, somebody's health to be worried about, and together you kind of were always met in this town like with other people's dramas and like a lot of internal politics as well going on. Let me see what else I can get out from this town setting. So why does this town setting that these soulmates found themselves in before ring true to you today and your soulmate? Is there a link there? Any of your soulmates remember any of them at all? We are sometimes blessed with many. Okay, the Mother of Cups. You might be with a water sign again, Cancer perhaps, or Pisces or Scorpio, but this person that they might even be your mom in this lifetime, really, you know. And you kind of, especially if you see your mother as some sort of a kind of warrior spirit or some sort of an activist, maybe you and your mom have always wanted to go to China together or do something like of an oriental sort of approach. But I don't know, I feel like this soulmate, you might see some resemblances, will actually see this in their own mother or in a child of yours. If you have a child, this could be the same soulmate. You see them as a real fighter, a warrior, you know, you obviously love them deeply, I would imagine. So yeah, that could be what's kind of coming through for me. But basically, these people, the soulmate from your old life is in the same town sector or like same sort of locale again in this lifetime. I think you guys are pretty close in proximity. So let's see. They're not in another country is what I'm trying to say. Okay, this soulmate. So let's see, you had it all. You had all the love you needed in this relationship. You had so much satisfaction. Let me see what the theme of the Nine of Cups was. The Six of Swords here. So you overcame all of the battles of perhaps some, you know, dealing with the loss of a mother or something like that. You overcame all of this together. You always were able to overcome anything together, really. All of the trials and tribulations, there was always a rainbow breaking for you guys in the darkness. It was this theme of like, as long as you had each other, that was really all that mattered. So you experienced abundance, you experienced the opposite of that too, where you were hungry, where you were very worried about what was happening next in terms of your resources. The Six of Cups. Of course, some of this worry was around your family, your children, how you would provide for them. But your roots were stable. You really, this was such a beautiful relationship. You always worked it out with this person somehow. Now we meet the ending of this relationship. We have the Fire card and the Eight of Swords. Let's have a look at the fire from a different point of view rather than perhaps literally dying in a fire. Okay, what else does this fire energy mean about the ending of this soulmate's relationship in the physical? Another six, the Six of Pentacles. So we have the Six of Cups, the Six of Swords here. This is kind of telling me, and again, the Lover's card, in a strange way, whatever happened at the end of your relationship, I do think you died together. It set you both free and transitioned, like it was just a transition into your next rebirth together. This is also number 6, the Lovers. So 6 in tarot is actually a very harmonious number. It's very... Okay, so sometimes when you look at a birth chart and you look at maybe, I sometimes will look at like a celebrity, this sounds a little morbid, who has died, okay? There was a Formula One driver called Senna, and I was watching his documentary movie. It's actually pretty good, Senna, and I have no real interest in that sport, but of course I'm checking his birth chart. I'm looking, because he had such a momentous life that I wanted to see what was happening in his birth chart when all of these momentous things happened. Well, the day he died, actually, he had a few scares with death along the way in his in his career as a race car driver. And the day that he died, there was a beautiful alignment of planets in the most harmonious aspects, the most benefic planets, and he was he was very much believed in God or the divine or some higher power, and that was written all over his chart. He had very strong Neptune, planet of transcendence, and the divine placed in his chart. But when the moment he died, it was said to be extremely peacefully how he died, albeit in a car crash. There wasn't very little damage done to the car, and it was I believe, a single blow to the head. The moment he died, all of these benefic planets were kind of harmoniously aspecting his own natal planets. So the way he died to me just looked like just a transformation closer to the divine. It was it was beautiful for me to look at, and that does sound kind of morbid, but there is a fear of death, and it seems like together this just talks to me about harmonious death. Like, fire doesn't seem like a nice way to go. Let's not even try and dress that up. But like, it was this energy of, whether or not it was a literal fire, however you went out together, even if it was just in old age, it was like, it was beautiful to you at the time. And it was a beautiful ending to this relationship. But for some, I do believe it was a physical trap. And what is the Eight of Swords telling us about being trapped physically here? Because this physical trap, the Hanged Man, wow, another cocooning energy of kind of being the Hanged Man can often feel trapped, or we can't move, or we're stuck like that. So for some, unfortunately, there was being stuck in a situation that was dangerous for you. The other thing I'm thinking about, what I'm getting from this is now, this soulmate relationship, you may be experiencing this again, or you will yet to experience this soulmate connection. There might be just a way that you feel like you need to be freer again, like take that evolution just up a notch to become even more free with this person. Even though it seemed like you did have a lot of freedom, there was something towards the end of the relationship that was not your choice. Maybe, you know, getting sick in old age, fire for sure, but you want to be leaving this soulmate connection with just more choices now, more liberation, more opportunity to express yourself fully and freely in this relationship could really be beneficial. Be able to express your body fully and freely to them. I'm not suggesting you go around and start flashing anybody, but you know what I mean. Just not have anything holding you back, restricting you, or trapping you in a circumstance you do not want to be in. Okay, before I finish this reading then, I'm closing you off with an oracle card that I pre-selected, and I was loving seeing this. Daughter of the Phoenix was the card that you got. Number 6. Oh, great, number 6, all of our 6s. Fab. Okay, so that number is important to this reading, number 6. And I like this Daughter of the Phoenix. Think of Phoenix rising from the ashes. So your relationship was transformed through fire. Wow. So when the soul is ready to spread its wings, it goes through a deep cleansing, purification, and preparation for new spiritual levels of wisdom, power, and light. Okay, I won't interrupt this many times, but what I am thinking is, like, even if you had to basically be reborn through fire in like a celestial way or an alchemical way, like that's still like your souls were reborn through fire just to reach a higher level of freedom. You already had such a free relationship, but you could have gotten something even more free as your soul evolves. Just like the phoenix that is baptized through fire to be born anew, you are going through such a phase of heavenly purification, preparation, and initiation. This is an advanced phase of soul growth, which you guys were, because you found such a healthy romantic partnership in that lifetime, even through war, even through loss, even through abundance and penury. So this is the advanced phase of soul growth, and soon after you will enjoy greater spiritual peace, divine power, and advancement on your own divine life path. This is a card reading now for pile number 2 to take as a message to them today. So Daughter of the Phoenix has been both through physical and heavenly, and has ascended into a position of greater spiritual peace, power, and authority. She guides you to claim your rebirth and ascend. So in the same way that if we were moving house, we would need to sort through our possessions, and sometimes it's an opportunity to let go of which we do not wish to take with us into our new life as we prepare to move to a higher level of consciousness. There are old habits, stuck emotions, stagnant energy that do not belong in our new life cycle. So maybe you did need to purify some of these stale energies that you developed together as soulmates. Hey, no relationship is perfect. We're only human after all. And you were kind of being ready to like purge those basically. It can be challenging time in which we would stand in the way of a new spiritual potency and must be eliminated. And often these things are deep fears, doubts, or questions about our own worth and ability. It can feel confronting to meet these parts of ourselves consciously, yet we cannot let go if we do not realize what we're still holding on within us. This initiation will help you release any old baggage of pain that will not resonate at higher levels of light that you're preparing to live in. It can feel challenging at times, but there's nothing wrong. There's actually something very right behind these experiences. Okay, that's nice. Okay, well, this was my number 2 Garnielite reading. Pile number 3 for the dragons, Moss Agate Dragon Head. Okay, so this relationship reading, first of all, looks to me like a karmic relationship of the past, but not in the way you might think, like any bad karma. It just feels like to me that this reading is unresolved. So this relationship was unresolved in a past life, and you may still have some karma to continue with each other in this current lifetime. This doesn't have to be as a romantic partnership again. It was in the past. It might have appeared to you in this lifetime as a friend, a sibling, a colleague, a teacher. It might be a romantic partnership again. But this person that you were in a romantic relationship from the past actually worked on the land in this region, agriculture. So something in the realm of working on the land, a farmer, somebody that worked with their hands on the land, within nature, with plants, with food, with animals, and somebody that was very in touch, like you, I believe, in this lifetime with the land. You were also in this lifetime a very beautiful person. You both were very attractive people physically. Both very spiritual people. You might even be drawn to somebody in this lifetime that has more spiritual qualities about them, or indeed are very beautiful again. But this relationship seems to me like, if any of these words like agriculture, the land, farming, health, the physical body, fruit, vegetable, things that we can grow, food, things like that. If any of those themes are coming through to you, I believe they may be coming through quite strongly with resonance at the moment. Like, okay, I have an idea about this kind of relationship, or it might trigger something from a past life memory for you, but you felt like very sure all the time about where this person was, what they were doing. You didn't have any doubts in this relationship. That's not what I feel like any of the karma is about. The region that you met each other in was in Central America, so a beautiful landscape. Perhaps it was Mexico, maybe it was Nicaragua, Guatemala, Costa Rica, somewhere like that. Very beautiful place where you were both very in touch with the land, very in touch with your meditative processes. Maybe you worked with shaman in the community, and you had a very spiritual connection with this person. And you were both very in touch with being self-sustaining people, and you really provided for yourself and maybe even the community. You were in a picturesque setting with this person, and that was never the problem. Where you found yourselves living, you never really yearned for anything else. You never wanted to see anything outside of your community or the landscape you found yourself in. It had provided everything for you, and you didn't see much of a world outside at that time anyway, and nor did you really care to. You were both very celebrated people and well liked in the community. Everybody seemed to have a lot of respect for you, and you were very accomplished people and successful people. However, why I feel like this connection was pure and loving and a happy connection, I feel like there's some karma here that's left unresolved today in your lifetime right now with this person. This theme of freedom versus servitude was the biggest theme that played out in your relationship. So while the first chapter of this relationship together seemed incredibly freeing, you provided all you needed for yourselves, you didn't really need to rely on many other things. You know, you could treat yourselves and do things you wanted to do, but you were pretty much happy with your lot, and you didn't ask for a lot. You were humble people and well-respected people. You were in touch with nature, you were in touch with spirituality, you were in touch with the earth. But something happened in your lifetime with this person that did bring out this theme and this contrast of how free you once were before, how free in your relationship you were, and then you became a servant to, maybe somebody was arrested, maybe somebody became like we think sometimes of like a prison sentence now can be looked at from some points of view as like just a sentence of servitude, to provide prison labor even, so like there are a lot of things that could come up as this theme. Perhaps I feel like there was some starving of love here, and that's what happened with the relationship. You were split up and separated, and maybe one of you remained free, maybe both of you were captured or were trapped or were forced into a life of servitude by other people that used their will against you. This, I believe, though, severed you guys. I think that regardless if you were both forced into a life like this, it was not together, and this is where the karma lies. You were split up against your will from this person, the Two of Cups in reverse, and you were forced apart. So that might sound clear to you today with some relationship. You feel like there is some karma that you worked through in the past already with somebody. Maybe there was a relationship you've had where you have been forced to separate for whatever reason. Maybe it was somebody going to jail, or somebody having to dedicate their life to serving others. Somebody had a child and they had to just focus solely on that person, or some circumstances have split you and a person in your current lifetime up already. Maybe this hasn't revealed itself fully to you yet, but it does seem like there is some karmic debt here of being dragged away from a person, romantic relationship or otherwise, in the past romantic relationship, but in this lifetime it doesn't have to be. Then how this relationship met is ending. They're always quite dramatic because they're cards associated with the physical death, but starvation. Now this is linked to the card I pulled, the Moon card, with this. So you never fully found out, and this is where there's still some more karma. You never fully found out what happened to this person. It might have been on a timeline when it wasn't easy to find out. Once you were separated, you never knew what happened next to this person. You might feel that this played out in your lifetime again. You ended a relationship that was significant, and you just that person may as well have dropped off the face of the earth. You never kept in touch, you never kept each other on social media, you never really saw what happened to them in their life. Like this person that you met before in a past life, you never found out if they were okay, and this really was devastating for you. This feeling of the constant unknown. Where are they? Are they doing okay? It was quite a tragic ending to this relationship, and therein lies this being more of a karmic connection than a soulmate connection for me so far. But we'll pull some more cards now and clear this up. This energy of starvation, they without your love and you without their love, you felt starved of something. You felt like the air had been just taken out of your lungs. You couldn't really exist with this person, and for a lot of it, it was the eternal not knowing. You never knew what happened to this person. It's really tragic. You never found out if they were okay or if they made it. So that's where that becomes a little bit difficult in this relationship reading, and I think we should pull some more cards to clear it up. For the dragons, that's what I said on this reading, and I kind of see why now. I feel like for some of you, you are in pursuit of a person still that you fell out of touch with, that you fell out of contact with. Now remember, this doesn't have to be a relationship that you're in a romantic sense with this person. This could have been a friend that you fell out of touch with, a family member you fell out of touch with. You're on a mission to rectify that karma by finding out, hey, did that person make it? Are they okay? The dragon energy in you is that bravery to continue this cycle, to continue this mission of karma, to find out what happened, to clear up and get some answers for yourself in this lifetime at the very least. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards coming up around the Ace of Swords and the Agriculture. What energies are coming up around that? I'm going to kind of freestyle these questions. The Six of Pentacles in reverse. So yes, meanwhile, you might know somebody that continues to work in this sector today, the land, agriculture, like quite literally, maybe a farmer, somebody who like plows the land. I'm not really sure on all the terminology that would fit these descriptions, but I see them being in touch with the earth still in a way in their life. And maybe that's a relationship, a karmic relationship that's coming through for you now. Oh yeah, I still know a person that likes this and does this, but they're struggling to get recognized in this field today, and they're not really as successful in this field, I don't think, as they were before. They may struggle with that. I think you may know who I'm talking about, perhaps. That could be some relationship you have some karma overdue with. Let me just pull and one more card. What did their career mean to you, and how did you factor in around their career? Were you more in support of it, or did it, unsettle the relationship in any way? Knight of Swords. The only thing that might have unsettled the relationship was you probably did often worry like where you were going to have things provided for you. Like, money might have been tight. You might have been like really kind of like like it was very hard even just to put food on the table for some, like as dramatic as that, and like there was a little bit of stress involved with their work, but I feel like you were involved with this work too. Okay, the Two of Swords coming flying out, and that you had to make a lot of sacrifices and tough decisions around the work you shared together. I know that farming can involve a lot of sacrifice and a lot of tough decisions. You might work with a person on the land even today. So let's have a look at this place you found yourself in. This was Central America. Overall, how was your relationship spent in this time, in this area, in this place? The Two of Wands. This might have been opening up this timeline a little bit more about somebody that took a very sudden risk in this relationship. And it was quite a bold move that one of you made in this relationship to further your position in life. Like you were happy with what you had, and then somebody just had to go out there and take a huge risk. I don't think it was you. I think it was the person you were dealing with took a massive risk in this lifetime together. It was for what they thought was going to be the best thing for you, but it seems to have been like a little unsettling. So you might find yourself with people in relationships that take risks or make decisions without even consulting you, without like sleeping on it. You might find yourself drawn to very impulsive decision makers. still. Four of Wands. Okay, so this did disturb the peace a bit of the home and living situation, especially if people were deciding to make more out there radical moves when you were like planning for a family or something like that. So you might feel that energy coming through again, like this is not the right time for you to be deciding to leave me and the kid and go set up your like beach shack tiki bar, you know. So they're the kind of energies that are coming up there. So let's have a look now at this setting you found yourself in. Very high esteem in your community. You were really, both of you were seen as very admirable people. Queen of Swords. And I think that you tried to pursue some sort of a healing route and you were met with resistance, and you would have had this experience from like herbs and resources from the land to kind of been able to heal people, and like this was kind of like this type of medicine, I believe, that would have been most commonly used, kind of like herbal treatments and things like that. You tried your hand at that, I think, or maybe it was them that they tried to go off on and take the experience that they had on the land into another direction, and that kind of unsettled you a little bit. So maybe that's part of the karma too, that you kind of get freaked out or frightened when the person that you find yourself with in a relationship wants to do something that's a bit more daring, that is kind of a little more outside of their level of expertise or their comfort zone, that threatens you a little bit. Maybe in relationships still, you know, you probably prefer to stick to your familiar and quite lovely surroundings, and you might find yourself drawn to people that want to push outside the comfort zone a bit more than you rather. So let's have a look at this element of freedom and servitude in your relationship. What really happened there? You went from having everything you guys could need and then being left powerless, basically. The Lover's card in reverse. So like the Two of Cups in reverse around this card, you were separated by a force, and you were taken away from each other. And this might have happened in a lifetime that sounds like today's lifetime, you know, that there was a reason that you were torn apart from this person, be it just a job though this time, and their servitude to a company came first. But something like that was the exact reason why you guys split up and then never heard from each other again after this point. So let me have a look more at this. I want to ask about this karma of the Lovers reversed. Where is this showing up today for you? This separation in a relationship. Where is the karma of the Lovers reversed showing up? It's something that you see as both satisfactory but never fully satisfied, if you know what I mean. Yes, it was good. Yes, you got enough out of this relationship to a certain degree, but you aren't fully satisfied with it. This seems to be a karmic relationship that might sound like similar today, that it's just left on an end point that doesn't feel like any closure, doesn't feel like anything was resolved, or you certainly never knew what happened next for them. And that was the same in this lifetime. After the circumstances separated you, you didn't hear from them again. So they needed your love and you needed theirs, and that's why this starvation is coming into this for me. I see it as like a starvation of attention, affection, and love, basically. For some, maybe without this person you were not able to provide, like the worries you used to have became a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you always had these niggling worried issues about being able to provide for yourself without the support of this person, and truly that could have happened for some. The Knight of Cups in reverse. This would have been a person upright that was a real hold it down provider in your life and kept you safe, made you feel safe, and without them you were very much lost. Without their love you felt kind of lost at a certain time, and you never got to find out, that kills me, what happened to them. So you do feel like you were missing their love in a bigger way. The Moon card. Any unanswered questions from the past that we can try and grab a card for here? Let's try and answer one of these unknown past energies. the Two of Cups. So for you knew this whole time, it was like 50-50 almost. Are they dead or alive? Like you had no idea what happened to this person. And this karmic relationship in your current lifetime might feel like that. Like you seriously don't have a clue where they are. You in a way feel like you are still stuck on that for some. The Hanged Man in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Some of you still feel very stuck in this sort of phase between the, you know, will I just stop caring what they're doing then? Or like, do I need to even know? And you're often back and forth or kind of stuck in a limbo around this karmic relationship. So that's how I see that karmic relationship has unfolded now into this lifetime. That there may be someone that you do feel stuck at a limbo with, stuck at a crossroads with, not knowing how they are or how they're doing, and you just, for whatever reason, are separated from them. Okay, so this is how I end this past life reading with an oracle card. So this is one I pre-selected earlier for number 3. This is called Nectar of the Lotus, number 20, and it says, the Divine Mother wishes, and I take this as a message now for your current trajectory you're on, some departing message from us in this reading today about something about the current path you're on right now. So the Divine Mother wishes that those who are meant to feed others be well fed too. Your devotion to helping others has the effect of squeezing the cosmic heart chakra of the Divine Mother. From her heart drips sweet nectar, sustaining, life-affirming energy that feeds you and allows you to nourish many souls. Like a sacred chalice that overflows when you are full, well and vital, the feeding of others happens effortlessly. You are guided to be fed now, fed with divine nectar from the heart of the Mother. Before I read a little more about that, that's really ringing true to me about this starvation card. The nourishment that you were deprived of from that relationship, you could have actually given to yourself at that time too, by just remembering and tapping into that heart chakra, universal love that exists eternally within every single human being. And you could have, what you were missing at that time was the love from another, failing to see that you had that love already within yourself to gather your strength from. But it says there's an endless supply of energy, joy, peace, love for you, flowing from the heart of the Divine Mother Kuan Yin. Yet sometimes we experience limitation of endless supply. These limits can be a hidden blessing. They could be a sign that our mind and emotional life could use some help shifting from scarcity consciousness into a consciousness of abundance. As we do this, we tend to relax, flow more easily, tapping into what is needed rather than perceiving restriction. A limit or block in our flow might be telling us that our nervous system needs to adapt to receive some of the higher intensities of spiritual electricity through our system as we become more used to living a joyful, higher vibrational existence. A limit or restriction in our energy might indicate that we have been so focused on giving to others that we've forgotten that we are part of the Divine Heart and we are seeking to embody, and we need to gain more balance in our lives by taking some time out and attention for ourselves. Okay, so this is talking to me, especially for those that are searching for some sort of a significant relationship at the moment, or inviting that into their life at this time, to fill their own cup. We do have a couple of cups reversed here that are overflowing, and like that oracle said, or alluded to at least, an empty cup can't fill another. So if your cup is running on low and your vessel is kind of empty emotionally, or in terms of the love you have for yourself, it will be kind of hard to align that to a super overflowing person's cup too, right? You might be meeting someone whose cup is draining empty too, in the same alignment as your own, and they're not feeling very worthy of love. But if your cup is full and you know you're kind of acting with intention from the heart chakra, and you will probably align with a really nice full cup to match yours, and toast to that. I'll cheers to those type of cups. Okay, pile number 3, Dragon Moss Agate. This was your reading, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that reading, and if you did, please let me know in the comments how this resonated with you. I would love to hear from you, and consider subscribing if you haven't done that already. Take care. Bye.